What would you do if the king of rock and roll made an unexpected request in the most unusual place? Imagine being in the presence of Elvis Presley, one of the most iconic figures in history, only to be surprised by something no one could have seen coming. This isn't your typical backstage moment or concert story. It all happened behind the closed doors of Graceland, in the most private and intimate setting imaginable. Elvis's personal sanctuary, his bathroom. As we delve into this incredible moment, meet Ginger Alden, the woman who was not only engaged to the king, but also had a front-row seat to his most personal and vulnerable moments. Their relationship was anything but ordinary, filled with highs, lows, and a whirlwind of emotions that ultimately led to a night she would never forget. Stay tuned as we unravel the unbelievable story behind this wild moment in Elvis Presley's history. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more incredible stories about the king of rock and roll. Number 5. Setting the scene. Elvis Presley and Ginger Alden's relationship was anything but conventional. As the world watched Elvis's life unfold under the public eye, few people knew the intimate details of his love life towards the end of his career. Ginger Alden, who was much younger than Elvis, became the woman who held his heart during his final years. Their romance was a whirlwind of intense emotions, marked by both the excitement and challenges of being involved with someone as legendary as the king of rock and roll. But their connection wasn't just about fame or status. There was a deep, personal bond that grew between them, despite the complexities of their very different lives. Ginger's entry into Elvis's world was nothing short of magical. She first encountered him when she was just a young girl, but it wasn't until her teenage years that Elvis began to take notice of her. A casual meeting at Graceland, sparked by her sister's beauty pageant title, led to a private tour of the iconic estate, where Ginger would begin to experience the allure of being close to such a powerful figure. For most, Graceland was just a mansion with stories, but for Ginger, it quickly became a place where her life would change forever. As she recalled, stepping into Elvis's world felt like living in a fantasy world, something she could hardly believe was real. Despite the 20-year age gap between them, the chemistry between Elvis and Ginger was undeniable. Their relationship blossomed quickly, with Elvis eager to share his private world with her. To Ginger, age was just a number, and the larger-than-life presence of Elvis overshadowed any doubts about their differences. What mattered most to her was the genuine connection they had, and how Elvis made her feel like she was the only one who truly knew him beyond the superstar image. Their love story was full of unexpected twists, but what happened next between them took everyone by surprise, especially Ginger. Stay tuned, because the next part of their story will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Elvis Presley. Number 4. Elvis's unique proposal. As their relationship deepened, Elvis was ready to make a bold move that would forever change both their lives. Known for his flair for the dramatic, Elvis was not one to follow convention, especially when it came to matters of the heart. So, when the time came for him to propose to Ginger, it wasn't during a candlelit dinner or on a romantic getaway. Instead, Elvis chose a place that held deep personal meaning for him, a place that might surprise you. It was in the heart of Graceland, behind closed doors, where the king decided to make his shocking proposal, showing just how different and unpredictable their relationship was. Elvis had always considered one room in his sprawling mansion to be his sanctuary, his personal retreat from the outside world. This wasn't the grand living room or even his famous jungle room. It was his bathroom. Yes, you heard that right. It was in this seemingly ordinary space that Elvis chose to pop the question. For most, a bathroom would be an unusual, if not awkward, location for such a monumental moment. But for Elvis, this space symbolized comfort, privacy, and trust. As Ginger sat in stunned silence, Elvis made his intentions clear. What Elvis asked of Ginger that night was so unexpected, so unusual, that it left her completely speechless. What could the king of rock and roll possibly request in such a private and vulnerable moment? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking details of that night, where Elvis didn't just offer a proposal, he made a request that would forever be etched in Ginger's memory, and you won't believe what it was. Number 3. The bathroom surprise. It was a night unlike any other, and Ginger Alden had no idea what was in store for her when Elvis called her into his private sanctuary, his bathroom. This wasn't just any room, it was the place where Elvis sought refuge from the world, a place where he could be himself, free from the constant pressure of being a global icon. As Ginger walked in, she could sense that something important was about to happen. There, in the quiet, intimate setting of the bathroom, Elvis sat her down. This was far from the typical romantic setting most women envision for such a significant moment, but for Elvis, it made perfect sense. He was about to make a request that would change both their lives, and he chose the one place where he felt most comfortable and in control. As Ginger sat, perhaps slightly bewildered by the choice of location, Elvis reached into his pocket and pulled out a green velvet box. Inside was a large, dazzling diamond ring. The sight of it took Ginger's breath away, making the moment both incredibly romantic and undeniably surreal. Elvis didn't need grand gestures or public displays of affection to make this proposal special. Instead, his beautiful words spoke volumes as he poured out his love for her and asked her to marry him. It was a quiet, heartfelt plea that carried the weight of all his emotions. Ginger later recalled how her hands trembled as Elvis placed the ring on her finger, the diamond sparkling in the dim bathroom light, making the whole scene feel like a dream she could barely believe was happening. But the real twist was not just in the romantic gesture itself, but in the odd and deeply personal significance of the setting. Why did Elvis choose his bathroom, of all places, for this life-changing event? For most, a bathroom would be the last place to propose, but for Elvis, it was the one place he felt he could escape the public persona and be his true self. It was a sacred space for him, and by inviting Ginger into that space, he was showing her a side of him that few ever saw. This wasn't just a proposal, it was a deeply symbolic moment, one that highlighted the complexity of Elvis's life and the intimate connection he felt with Ginger. But what was behind Elvis's choice of this unusual setting, and did it hold even more meaning than Ginger realized at the time? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the significance of this shocking proposal. As Ginger sat in stunned silence, Elvis made his intentions clear. What Elvis asked of Ginger that night was so unexpected, so unusual, that it left her completely speechless. What could the king of rock and roll possibly request in such a private and vulnerable moment? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking details of that night, where Elvis didn't just offer a proposal, he made a request that would forever be etched in Ginger's memory, and you won't believe what it was. Number 2. Building the tension. To truly understand why Elvis chose his bathroom for such a significant moment, we need to delve deeper into what this room represented for him. For most, a bathroom might be an afterthought, a simple, functional space. But for Elvis, it was far more than that. This room was his personal haven, a place where he could escape from the relentless pressure of fame, where he could be completely alone with his thoughts. In this private sanctuary, he found solace and peace away from the chaos of the outside world. It wasn't just a physical space, it was his retreat, where the king of rock and roll could let his guard down and simply be Elvis Presley, a man like any other. The significance of this room was not lost on Ginger. As Elvis led her into this intimate space, she could feel the weight of the moment. It was in this sanctuary, surrounded by the familiar warmth of his most private quarters, that Elvis decided to make his grand gesture. Her heart raced as he spoke softly, his words filled with emotion, and in that moment, time seemed to stand still. As Elvis reached into a green velvet box and presented her with a dazzling diamond ring, Ginger's hands trembled with shock and excitement. She could barely comprehend what was happening. Here she was, in the heart of Elvis's world, being asked to become part of it forever. But that's not all that happened in this iconic room. As Elvis slipped the ring onto her finger, sealing their bond, there was something else, something even more unexpected that would take this moment from extraordinary to unforgettable. What could possibly come next after such a grand proposal? What did Elvis ask of Ginger that left her speechless, standing in the very place where the king found both comfort and heartbreak? The answer to that question is coming, and it's a moment you won't want to miss. Number 1. The tragic ending. The bathroom that once held so much joy for Ginger Alden, the very place where Elvis asked her to be his wife, would tragically transform into a site of unbearable heartache. What had once been a sanctuary of love and intimacy would later become a place of loss and grief. Just months after the memorable proposal, it was in this same room where Ginger would find Elvis, unresponsive, forever changing the way she would remember their time together. What began as a room filled with laughter, shared secrets, and the promise of a future together ended as the setting for the most heartbreaking moment of her life. In her autobiography, Ginger recounts the harrowing details of that fateful day. She had woken up, noticed Elvis wasn't beside her, and went to find him. As she approached the bathroom, her heart sank when she saw the door slightly ajar. Knocking gently and calling his name, she received no answer. What she saw when she opened the door would haunt her forever. Elvis, motionless on the floor. In that instant, the bathroom that had once symbolized love and happiness became the darkest place in her memory. As Ginger later wrote, "One moment, it was a place of love and happiness. The next, it became the darkest moment of my life." This devastating shift from joy to tragedy makes this room forever etched in both her heart and the legacy of Elvis Presley. As we uncover more of this incredible story, we want to hear from you. What do you think about Elvis choosing such a personal and unexpected place for this life-changing moment? Do you think the king had a deeper reason for picking his private sanctuary for such an important proposal? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. We'd love to hear your take on this unforgettable chapter in Elvis Presley's life. And don't forget to join the conversation with fellow fans.